Fuego Pizza presents SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Steve?
Jesse?
The Leafs made the biggest signing in May 14th history. May 14th, 2020 history.
So, wait, it wasn't Alexander Barabanov?
No, that didn't happen on May 14th, 2020.
No, Mikko Lehtinen?
Nope, it didn't happen May 14th, 2020.
Okay.
No.
I know. Adam Brooks.
That is correct.
Adam Brooks.
So you tweeted that you're really happy about the Leafs signing Adam Brooks to a 2-year, two-way contract extension worth an annual value of $725,000.
Oops. Yes.
Tell me why this is a good deal.
Well, I don't know what league minimum is these days, but I know that's awful close. So, the Leafs need as many deals under $1 million as possible. What I keep saying with signings, I think like Barabanov and Lehtinen, who I hope both make the team, is they're buryable. And it's great that you could bury them. If you have to bury them in the minors and it won't have any cap hit. That's the case for Lehtinen. That's the case for Barabanov. And that's the case for Brooks as well, because I think it's about $1.3 million. But that's also just a good cap hit to have on your roster.
Right.
Basically, it's the first comparable I could think of, because, the Leafs added Kyle Clifford. And he was making over $1 million. Not that Adam Brooks and Kyle Clifford or Trevor Moore are the same person, but this is a lot like Trevor Moore's contract, and it's like Brooks is a direct sort of replacement for him rather than Clifford. Mm-hmm. He's probably a winger at the NHL level, or at least to start, but he could be a center option, which – what team's not looking for those, right? I liked him in his little stint as a Leaf. I think the team around him was kind of struggling, but I liked his presence. So wicked.
Is Brooks an NHL player? Like, do you see a future? Because this was his first year. He's only played in 7 career NHL games, and they were all this year. He has 3 assists. And when you're 24 and you haven't cracked the NHL yet, how much of a future do you have? Making the lineup, especially as a winger on a team where they have so many wingers. A lot,
but that's the good thing, right? Like they have options. They're going to need options. I assume trades are coming. It's sort of like the past couple of years where we go, the dam's going to break, and then it did with Nas. It's going to break again. Which is a good thing. We're used to talking about the Leafs and they don't have any good players. Or they don't have nearly enough good players. Now they have like too many, at least up front, and you're going to need to replace them with cheap guys, and Brooks is there. Now, is he going to be unreal? No, I don't think so. I mean, he was a late draft pick. I think he was drafted at 20 years old in 2016.
Yeah.
The Mark Hunter draft, as it's known. So if that was him, good on you, Mark.
4th round,
yeah.
92nd overall, 2016, like you said, yeah.
And they like him. They like him as a person. The Leafs are big on liking the guys on their team. They don't want guys who are a pain in the ass, and it doesn't sound like he is one unless you're playing against him. And Sheldon Keefe obviously really likes him. So good. Why not keep good players in the organization?
Right.
It's nothing but good.
That's kind of something we're seeing more and more. Sheldon Keefe picking guys that he worked with with the Marlies. Right, I feel like that's a pattern we're kind of seeing just over the last couple months of those guys getting the chances and those guys coming up to the team and being a part of it for the future.
I'm excited to see a, outside of Brooks, I'm excited to see a defense built for Keefe. Just because I don't know what. Sometimes when you fire a coach, you get a Stanley Cup team, as we've learned in recent years.
That seems to be like a trend in the NHL.
It's wild.
You fire your head coach in January, and then you go on to win the Stanley Cup.
It makes no sense. But what you also get, well, and then the Leafs went like 10-1-1 or something stupid, like when Keefe joined. But sometimes what you get is this weird little Franken team, and the Leafs always sort of felt strange, especially on the back end and how they were constructed. And one of the only, not criticisms, but warnings of Keefe when he joined the Leafs is the decor that he won the Calder Cup with the Marlies was pretty close to an NHL decor, which, I mean, try going through the season with what they had. I don't think I would call it that, but it was expensive. Marty Marincin was expensive. Justin Hall, I believe, was expensive. Who else did they have? They had Travis Dermott that was loaned back to them. They had a pretty juiced defense, so I'm interested to see what they're going to do with that.
Even like their scratches on at forward were just some of the guys who could be regulars in the lineup, if I remember correctly, right?
With them, like guys who they took out of the lineup.
Yeah,
everyone always makes a big deal out of those things. It's not
No?
at all. Like, no, because it's the AHL. Guys get banged up, and they got to play 3 games in 3 nights, and they're trying to evaluate everybody, and not everybody can play in the same game. If someone remembers this name, Marcel Mueller. Who remembers Leafs legend Marcel Mueller? He was one of 2 Germans on the Leafs at the same time. It was him and Corbinian Holzer. This is when the Leafs were awful.
Yeah, I remember Corbinian Holzer.
Yeah.
Can't forget that name.
He was, I mean, I'll never forget him. One time I was outside of Grace O'Malley's, famous bar in Toronto, and Holzer was walking by in full German lederhosen.
No way. Was it some sort of German festival that weekend?
Or he was in one. I don't know. He was just having a good time. That guy's still in the show. Where's
he playing?
I don't even remember. I think he was traded to Nashville recently. He played like a bunch of forward this year. Anyway, sorry. Marcel Mueller. He was a healthy scratch on the Marlies the same year he was called up to play for the Leafs. You know, and there's been a lot more cases than that. He's just the one I remember. I think the same happened to Bracco actually relatively recently. It's a thing. It's a thing that happens in the AHL, and you just gotta. I'm not gonna be an AHL snob, but it's just one of those little idiosyncrasies of the AHL that you sort of gotta know. Otherwise, yeah, what? This guy wasn't good enough for an AHL roster, and now he's in the NHL. Yeah, no, I get it. It's concerning.
You spent quite a bit of time just learning the AHL during those terrible Leaf seasons, because you were actually down there in the locker room. That was your new kind of team you were covering. That was the Marlies.
Yeah, Sheldon Keefe actually chirped me when we did. We watched that 8-6 Carolina game recently. We did a watch party for that, and I guess he knew Jeff Merrick from his days covering the Sioux or something like that. Jeff's already lived 1,000 lives. And then he goes, Dangle, you were coming to all our games, and then I guess you got too good for us or whatever, because I covered them during 2016. Right. But what I told him is, no, Sheldon, I got smart. I started going to games as a fan, and so I could have a beer, which is true. Yeah. We were at most of their 2018 run. Mm-hmm. I think we were at least half of their home games, or we saw the elimination against Utica. Mm-hmm. Where Garrett Sparks made a save with his bare hand. And I want to say at least 3 of the Marlies home games during their finals against Texas. So
yeah, we were definitely there for the winning one.
Yeah, I just got smart, Sheldon.
Game. Yeah.
That's smart. Don't be salty. Come on.
So overall, happy with the move? What do you grade it?
I like it. He's a speedy, hardworking forward. Undersized, sure. It seems like the Leafs got 1 million of them. Mm-hmm. But, when you consider they're going to lose guys or they're going to have to move guys out, and he makes practically no money, and they seem to like him as a person, like, you got to really try to hate this deal. You gotta for some reason have a reason to hate Adam Brooks, which I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Because it's no money, and it's not going to affect your cap. He's going to play for the Marlies, most likely. There's nothing to complain about.
Yeah, and if he doesn't, who cares? And if he does, who cares? Like, I'm perfectly comfortable with him doing either thing.
Right.
It's fine.
All right. Do you want some news from your favorite human, Gary Bettman?
Oh, sure. I was like, wait, who's my favorite human?
the
Jesse
man
Blake,
who's
you're already here.
the man who's banned from the show.
One of the few. One of the
So
many.
he said on Tuesday during a call with, I believe it was San Jose's like business district or something. It was like a virtual call, and he told San Jose's business alliance that shutting down the 1920 campaign and not handing out the Stanley Cup is not something I'm even contemplating. I believe that if the right time comes in the right circumstances, based on all of the options that we're considering and our ability to execute them, we'll get this season done. I don't want to sound Pollyanny. Do you know that word? Pollyanny, but canceling is too easy a solution. That means you stop working hard to do all the things that we're doing, and I ultimately believe that there will be an opportunity.
Yeah, okay.
So what do you take from that?
First of all, I'm very concerned with myself that the first thing I thought of was Polyamory, the reality show about couples who
about thruples
and quadruples and double couples. I don't know what you call them. But okay, I want to sort of, sometimes when you talk a lot, the message gets confused, and sometimes I get confused with my own message. Can I just say that Gary Bettman in that said a lot of things that I like. That I like. The idea of just scrapping the season and not even trying to resume it. No, of course you should try. You should try to come up with ideas. The past couple shows have been getting frustrated because it seems like it's a different, complicated idea from scratch each and every time. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And I'm like, oh, I feel like I got to be an event planner / doctor / all sorts of things. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. Play hockey.
Yeah.
Like, do this system, do that system. I was sort of, you and Adam had a much more logical, level-headed approach last time, but I'm sort of the opinion, if you're going to do some sort of thing with 24 teams, what's another 7? Like, you can't be like, well, we got like how many people are on 24 teams?
24 times 20
plus their
right?
training staff and everything. We're talking 1,000 people.
Yeah, it's 480 if it's 24 times 20 skaters, and then you add 100 for the amount of just training staff and head coaches.
Yeah, and
we're talking about like almost 600, 800 people, somewhere in there.
And some of you might be like, well, they could get sick, and if you invite the other 7 teams, they could get sick and they can spread it. I'm with you. I get it. But if it's safe for 1,000 people, could it not be safe for like 1,500 or whatever it is? Or if it's safe for 800 people, could it not be safe? I only want this to happen if it's safe. And people are acting like I got some axe to grind, like I don't want hockey back. Are you aware of who you're listening to? I want hockey back so bad. So bad. I've made like 3 videos on my channel over the past month. I've made a bunch for Sportsnet, but that's all classic stuff. I want hockey back very badly, and I'm happy that the NHL is trying to bring hockey back. And I'm happy that they're trying to resume the regular season, which it sounds like. They're trying to finish out the regular season. And listen, they're coming back because they need money. So I'm like, why? You surely make money off of those dozen. Let's not pretend like a dozen NHL regular season games isn't a lot. And just like, again, if it's safe, if you come up with a system that is safe for the playoffs, which is 2 months, surely you can make a system that is safe for 3, right? And if you can't, you shouldn't be doing any of it. It's not, oh, well, we're unsure, so we're going to, there's no half measures here. In my opinion, again, I'm not a friggin' doctor or an event planner or any of that stuff. But if you can come up with some sort of scenario that is safe to have the full playoffs or more than the full playoffs, which is what we had proposed last show, 24 teams instead of 16. If you can come up with something that is safe for that, surely you can come up with something that is safe to finish the NHL regular season. And if you make exceptions, fine. I could see how that, like Detroit, you're right, does not need to play in terms of the standings.
But I'm sure their owner wants them to play.
But their owner wants them to play.
Their business dealings wants them on the ice so they can make some money. And there's a lot of hurdles that the NHL and all these sports leagues have to get over just to get to this point, right? There's a reason like all of this is taking so much time. It's such a complicated discussion because it's not easy. It's not just bringing them and putting them on the ice. There's so many things to consider.
There's so much to consider, and the hub cities and all that. And like, is this a good time to get into what Mitch Marner was talking about on his Twitch stream?
That was an odd clip. Yeah, we can go there if you want. Just bring it back a little first, though. Paulie Annie is overly cheerful, according to Google. So Bettman didn't want to sound overly cheerful, but he's working very hard to bring back the NHL season.
Yeah. And also dialing it back. It's Gary Bettman. Like, this is his job. Yeah. Gary Bettman's job is not to talk about the doom and gloom of the National Hockey League. It's to talk about how everything is great, unless the players ask for more money, and then it's not.
Then it's a completely different discussion. We're shutting that down.
Right. And again, we've talked about it. I think he's really good at his job, which is to be the mouthpiece of the owners, really, and also manage their egos. And they want to get back to playing. They want to get back to making money. Mm-hmm. And so Bettman's job is to get up there and be like, yep, we're coming back, and it's going to be great, and there's going to be bouncy castles and ice cream, and there will be a Stanley Cup. That's his job. So, like, it's my job to get fired up. I don't even get – I have a hard time getting fired up by Gary Bettman unless it's a really good one, because I know what he's doing. I know what his job is, and he wouldn't be doing his job if he wasn't trying to resume the regular season. And, the canceling the regular season is not something the commissioner never considered during a pandemic. Like, get real. It's PR, right? Mm-hmm. But listen, I want hockey back badly.
Every hockey fan does.
Yeah, I want it to be safe.
Yes, and I think everybody agrees with we want it to be safe. We can't take resources from society. We know there are risks involved with bringing this many people to this sort of to one place, and I think that's what Mitch Marner was talking about on his. Does he play Fortnite or NHL?
On his Fortnite. He plays. I think it's Fortnite. He plays shooters. I think he was playing. I want to say Modern Warfare, whatever. Okay. One of the new ones that came out. Whenever I see a new shooters coming out that everyone's got, I'm like, that's not for me. I'm gonna die.
It must have been Call of Duty then, because that was probably it. Back on again. Anyway, so during his video game stream, someone asked him about restarting the league, and he said, obviously, I want it to restart, but what happens if someone tests positive? What happens if someone gets really sick? And dies. And dies. He went to the drastic side, which you should always do in any discussion. You should always propose both sides. It's like, what if an NHL player gets COVID, they pass away because of it? Like, how does the league continue? And I think before you go into restarting the leagues, you have to outline that in some sort of new CBA clause, where it's like, okay, we're treating contracting coronavirus like an injury. I think is the only way you would be able to do that, because you can't, once you start the season, I don't think there's a way to end it again. So
sure there is. You know what?
there is, but it's not, once you get going, is that the right angle you want to go for,
Well, I agree with you that if you start up and have to stop again, you stop it for good.
Then you're done. Then we're canceled, right?
Yeah, and then you start building towards next season,
January.
And like, I don't think it's a matter of, people look at it like it's a failure or you're giving up. It's not about you. This is unprecedented in our lifetime, which sounds like something we've heard far too often in our lifetime. But it is, unless you are like 100 years old, which I saw a very interesting interview with a British gentleman who was 100 years old, and he had a lot of fascinating things to say. But unless you're 100 years old, you've never experienced anything like this. And if you are 100 years old, you don't remember it.
Right. There was a 104-year-old that just recovered from coronavirus.
That's unbelievable.
We were talking about her today. It's incredible.
Yeah. And you know, Mitch is talking about Max Domi, or he referenced Max Domi, who has diabetes, right? And we've all read 1,000 things. Again, I'm not a doctor. I don't remember if people with diabetes are affected even worse. I guess they are, based on what he said. But I heard an interesting quote, and I think it had something to do with there were a couple viral videos going around of people getting like kicked out of a Red Lobster somewhere and just losing their mind. And someone goes like, damn, you're really willing to die for Red Lobster. Mm-hmm. And a brilliant response that I saw was, no, it's, are you willing to kill for Red Lobster? You know what I mean? If every NHL player got COVID, mm-hmm. would a single one of them die? I don't know. Let's say none of them do. They all have it. They're all carriers. They can all spread it. And I don't know. And now I'm just getting into a bunch of things that people are sick of, but right. It's not about fear. It's not about caving into the virus. The virus doesn't give a shit. It doesn't care. It does not care. And stop acting like this is a run-of-the-mill event. People get sick all the time. Yeah. And every time they do, we try to prevent it and try to cure it. And this thing's brand new, right? So it was refreshing to hear Marner be as frank as he was, you know, and I don't want to, he looked at it like, I don't want to risk someone else's life, right? He wasn't like, I'm going to get sick and die. He, you know, referenced, what if someone in the league, what if 1,000 what ifs. So I don't know, it was refreshing, and you can't pretend like he's an outlier and he's the only one. He's just the only one who said it on a Twitch stream. There's been a few athletes throughout all this who, man, strapping a mic to your head for an hour and a half is tough, and a lot of people are realizing that. Rudy Gobert going off on someone. David Pasternak said, I can't remember, it was he got in trouble for it, and there was a guy, NASCAR driver, who got fired. Mm-hmm. You know, and Marner it was amazing to watch him not even break stride.
Yeah, it was weird to hear him say that. Like when I saw the clip come up on Twitter, I didn't expect that to come out of his mouth. Even when I clicked play and I knew what was going to happen, I was still shocked to hear him say that, because he went to the extreme. He questioned. He's like, do we want to play a sport that's going to kill people if we play it? You know, if we start playing hockey and people start catching coronavirus and dying, then the sport is killing people, and is it worth it? You know, he went to the extreme, and it was good on him for asking the question. Yeah, at least, you know. And the conversation, I got to go back and watch the whole stream now to see what he said, but it wasn't all, what if someone gets sick and dies? It was like, they were talking about hub cities, and Toronto was a pitched hub city, and another was Columbus. And I don't know the particulars of why he said this, but he was like, oh my God, that sounds like hell, basically. So I don't know what kind of, like, I've been to Columbus. I'm trying to picture the amenities, but like, I think it's more about the city and how little coronavirus they have. You know, it's less about the attractions in the city and more about, hey, do they have a dense population? Do they have hospitals? Do they have enough testing? That sort of stuff. Not, hey, can we go party there? Which I think is your initial thought when you're a hockey player and you're like, hey, want to go to this city? And you're like, what's their nightlife like?
Yeah, I don't think that's quite what he meant. Dude, Columbus is very underrated in terms of a good time for hockey. I went there for the All-Star game, though, which is
just a giant party.
It's the circus. It's so good. But yeah, good on him. I'll probably go back and try to find some other stuff he said, but like, I don't know. We always talk about Marner like he's this child, and he's got these other forces in his life and make decisions for himself. That was a big storyline from this summer, but like he sounded pretty articulate and informed. Like in that moment, I was like, "That's my Mitch. That's the Mitch I cheer for. Put that A on your chest, Mitch. I love it."
Right. I also like the gif of him just chugging the wine that everybody keeps using on Twitter.
Oh my God, you made me choke on my water. Yeah, he's a legend. He's he's been a legend throughout all this. That's where he's a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Actually, you know what? What is it about? Like I feel like coming up, I was worried about drinking wine because I'd get made fun of because it's not like a manly drink. You know what I mean?
I feel like adults drink more wine. Like
Adult
I feel like it's
like,
more manly than other drinks, Like I don't feel that way.
No, I very don't.
Yeah.
But like sometimes I take stock of the things I used to think like, oh, I can't do that because I'm a guy. And now I'm like, drink wine? Have wine. I wish I was drinking wine at Mitch Marner's age.
Right?
Mellows you out a little bit more than shots.
Did you see the news from the PWHPA?
Yes. Sorry, it's hard to keep track.
Yes. So, for anybody that doesn't know, they're going to be cutting the amount of cities they operate in and coming up in the new season. So the new format means the PWHPA will no longer operate in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut area or in Buffalo, and will feature one Toronto group instead of two. There will be 3 regional centers in Canada, Montreal, Calgary, and Toronto, and 2 in the U.S., Minnesota and New Hampshire. Each region is going to have tryouts and cuts for players this coming season, and they'll have a cap of 25. Local general managers and coaches will decide on who makes the cut. And the reason for this is because, where did I have it? Last year they couldn't get the attendance numbers to justify being in these areas, and they'd have players come out, and it was a little iffy on if it would justify the amount of people and the amount of players that they have in each area. So they've kind of cut it down, created these teams of 25 players, and they're create showcases in these new 5 hubs. What do you think about this?
Well, it's I never like hearing about cuts or anything like that, especially to that cause, and they're trying to grow the game. I am confused as to how any of that's going to work. I'm confused as to how any league at all is going to work. Any league where no fans are allowed to attend. And it's hard enough if your league was already losing money. It's hard enough if you have this multi-million-dollar, multinational TV deal, like if you're the NHL or the NBA or whatever. It's hard enough if you're the NWHL, who I know they broadcast their games, but like, how's that going to work if fans aren't allowed to attend? And then there's the PWHPA, which, correct me if I'm wrong, like they were showcases, right? They were special events to go to. They were fun to go to.
Yeah, it's entirely live. Like the whole thing is to get people to go out to see these women play hockey.
So
and showcase the game?
Do you make it a pay-per-view? Do you make it? Do you air the games on Twitch? Do you sign some deal with a broadcaster? Or going back to my Twitch idea, do you do that and rely on donations or something like that? Make it like it's a free event, but please, donate some money. I just don't understand. I don't understand how almost any league operates, and they're in a particularly unique situation. It sucks for everyone. It sucks for everyone. And they bet on themselves and they bet on a brighter future, and then this happened. You know what I mean? So I don't know what you do.
I'm trying to think of alternatives, because the goal here is to go out to these hubs and to play games in these hubs and to showcase the game, right?
Right.
And then, so what's the end goal? The end goal is to form teams in these cities. Like I'm unsure of the PWHPA's end goal here. Do you have any idea on what it could be?
Or how it's changed, right?
Right.
With everything that's gone on. I don't know. I think right now the goal is to grow the game. Right? To grow the game and to eventually have a league that provides sustainable success for the league and sustainable income for the athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Women who can grow up and say, I want to do that, and then go on to play professional hockey. But I don't know how you do that. And as for like, if they were to adopt the Twitch thing, and do donations, and some people might say, well, that's them stealing the NWHL's idea. The NWHL didn't invent Twitch. Like, when I first heard that they were doing that, I'm like, that is a brilliant and smart idea.
Right.
And we had Anya Packer on, and she's like, this brilliant and smart idea is working out great for us. So if it works for them, maybe it'll work for you. Almost seems like a same team sort of thing right now. I mean, doesn't it? Like, just because there's... If I sound like I don't have any answers, I don't.
I don't think anybody does at this moment, because everything's so up in the air because of the pandemic. Plus, we've never seen... we've seen how it operated last year, and it obviously needed to be dialed back a bit. And now we don't know the future of what this holds, like how they continue this operation. They said players were not paid last year for participating in the showcases, but their expenses were covered. And Jana Hefford, the operations consultant for the PWHPA, said at the minimum expenses will be covered again this year.
So at the minimum, to me, it sounds like they're going to cover expenses and they're going to try to pay them.
Right. So operations costs are super low, it sounds like. We're just paying for kind of the arena and the staff and that sort of stuff. So it's a great, once they're out in these cities, once everything's kind of back to normal and maybe you get fans out there, it's a great way to show off the women's game and grow it in that sense. But I don't know how they expand.
I hate to say this, but like, I feel like the pandemic has thrown it into survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's why, like, I mean, we asked Danny Ryland straight up. We're like, you're expanding right now? Are you serious? And like, I know they talked about it for a long time. Like, it didn't fall out of thin air and they didn't see a pandemic and go, this is a great idea. We're going to do this right now. But I feel like every league is in survival mode. It's not unique to them. They're just in a unique situation in how they're built.
Yeah. And I feel bad because like the biggest sports in the world are in survival mode. So what does that mean for the ones lower on the rung? You know, the NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, they're not operational and they're just burning cash right now. So what does that mean for these leagues that are not, like we just saw the AHL season cancel?
Yep. And that's the rest of this one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
yeah. If these big leagues can't operate right now, I feel bad for any smaller league trying to go at it.
All you can do is, because this thing changes week to week, and wherever you live, maybe numbers have gone down and you're celebrating, and then they go up, and then you're devastated, and then they go down again, and then they go down even further, and then maybe you can return to. We don't know what the world is going to look like in September.
All right. And everybody keeps talking about a second wave. That's the new buzzword.
And supposedly the Spanish flu had 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it lasted 2 years, I believe. Yeah.
Boy. So all you can do is plan for when it is okay to resume. If you have a good plan for that, I think that's the best you can do. It's the best you can do right now. I can't imagine a scenario where they come out of this making millions of dollars. If they do, wonderful. I'd be calling Sportsnet.
Yeah.
I'd be calling all the other broadcasters and going, listen, provide a camera, or like don't even provide the camera. Screw it. We'll provide you the footage. Just give us something. And a lot of these sports stations will be like, you know what? Cool. Because we've been airing Korean baseball in Bundesliga for the last 6 months. So,
And
like,
I feel like these showcases might be an easy sell to a network like Sportsnet, because you're not buying a whole season like the NWHL. You're buying just one-offs, maybe on a Saturday or on a Sunday, and where you need to fill programming during the day. So I feel like that's an easier sell to a network than say, hey, we need you to buy 30 games of a season. It's, hey, what about this Sunday in December? Could you do that? Maybe send the camera, throw it on one of your local networks, So and I feel like there's a future
maybe Sportsnet buys like the Toronto games. Maybe Nesson buys like New Hampshire or something like that.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to lie. I don't know where New Hampshire is, and at this point, I'm afraid to ask. That's my Canadianness in all of this.
It's the northeastern region of the United States.
I don't believe you.
What do you mean?
No, I'm kidding. I'm just being difficult. New Hampshire. There's all that northeast, of the states. There's aren't there like 16 states?
Yeah, there's New Hampshire,
area?
there's Maine, there's Vermont. That little area is what you're referring to.
Where is New Hampshire? If I had to do like a states map of the United States, I would fail it so hard.
Yeah. Do you know where Boston is and in that area where you have
it's above Massachusetts.
Yeah. And then you go, and then there's Maine, which is up by like the east coast of Canada. It's like New Brunswick.
What is New England?
New England is that little area with that cluster of states.
So it's Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and
Rhode
Maine?
Island.
Oh, where's Rhode
Island? Is
like the size of a thimble?
It's below Massachusetts. And then Connecticut's right there. Connecticut's in between New York and Boston. That's
Rhode Island's a myth. I don't see it.
It's right below
Rhode Island's a rumor.
Massachusetts and to the right of Connecticut.
No, you made that up. You made that up. Rhode Island is a conspiracy. I want to see a podcast on the Rhode Island conspiracy. It doesn't exist.
We should test you on like American geography, just to upset every American listener.
I would do better with countries of the world than American states.
Do you want to do state capitals?
Oh no! Okay, fine.
All right, we're gonna take a little segue. We're gonna do state capitals of the United States, testing Steve Dangle.
Okay.
Alabama.
Birmingham.
Montgomery.
There's a bunch of these states where I'm gonna be like, okay, what's the one city I know? Okay.
0 for 1. All right, I'm just gonna keep track of how many you got right. 0 so far. Alaska.
Oh my God. What the hell is it called? No. Anchorage.
No. Junie.
No.
Arizona.
Junie or Juno? I thought it was Juno.
Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm terrible at reading and English and spelling. And typing.
Same. 0 for 2. Good.
Arizona.
Oh. Okay, so it's Phoenix is the obvious answer. So I'll say Phoenix.
Phoenix! 1.
I also cheated. I relied on your face because I was going to say Scottsdale. Let's say 0 for 3. I was going to say Scottsdale.
Were you?
I don't know. I was also leaning towards Phoenix because I feel like it's so much bigger than the other ones.
I'll give you that one. I don't think you're going to get a lot of these.
I'll give it to me.
Arkansas.
Little Rock.
2.
Hey,
there you go. California. This is a hard one.
Oh, it's not LA. Is it Sacramento? What?
It's Sacramento.
Hey,
there's 3. Colorado.
Denver.
There's 4. Wow, you're already doing better than I thought you would.
Yeah, same.
Connecticut.
Oh, geez, can I name a city in Connecticut? Hartford.
Yes.
Hey!
That's 5.
All right.
I'm shocked right now.
Me too. Okay.
Delaware.
Okay, I don't think I can name a city in Delaware. Appletown.
No, Dover.
Dover.
You didn't know that. Don't say Dover like you knew.
No, I didn't. I had no idea.
Florida.
Oh, that's. I don't think it's. Oh, Miami.
No. Where did
What?
they go in The Office when they went down to Florida?
I don't remember.
Tallahassee.
Tallahassee.
That's the capital of Florida, yes.
That's so Florida.
Georgia.
Now I'm trying to. Oh, Atlanta.
Yes. 6.
There you go.
6, right? That's not bad. Everybody listening, guess how much you think Steve is going to get from here on out. He's got 6 so far. All right, let's go. Hawaii.
Oh, Honolulu.
Yes, that's 7.
Yes.
Idaho.
Can I name a city in Idaho?
You totally can.
Potato City.
No, Boise.
Boise.
The Boise State Broncos.
That one I knew. That one I knew the city. I would have never guessed it though.
Where do we go? Illinois.
I assume Chicago.
No, Springfield. Idiot.
Oh, that's in the Animaniacs song.
Yeah!
I gotta try to remember that.
Indiana.
Indianapolis.
Yes, that's 8. Iowa.
Oh. Delegateville.
They're always like the swing state.
I hear about Iowa once every 4 years.
Yeah, when there's an election.
Yes.
Yeah, and Hillary
Delegateville.
loses.
Am I right?
No, it's
No?
Des Moines.
Des Moines.
Des Moines.
I literally would have thought Des Moines is a state.
You got 8 so far. Kansas. This one's a little hard. The next couple, I think we might have a run here where you don't get any.
So Kansas is I know for a fact, Kansas and Missouri, I feel like they border each other and they have some weird shared names. It's not Kansas City. I'll say Kansas City.
No, it's Topeka.
Oh,
I'm telling you, we're going to go on a string where you don't get much. Kentucky. What you got, Steve? Not fried chicken.
Okay, I don't know if this is a person's name or a place, but is it like Pawtucket?
No,
what's Pawtucket? I don't even know what that is.
Pawtucket is in where we originally started this conversation. Pawtucket's up in New Hampshire.
Oh, whatever, dude.
The Pawtucket Red Sox, I believe, are their AA or AAA team.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, the capital of Kentucky is Frankfurt.
Oh my God! What? Okay.
Next is Louisiana.
Baton Rouge.
Hey, nice.
That's the Animaniac song. I remember that one. I think it's the first one in the song.
Maine.
Bangor.
Nope. Augusta.
Ah!
Augusta National.
That's where that is?
Play the Masters.
I thought that was in Georgia.
Oh, maybe it isn't. I think it's in Georgia.
Oh.
I think I'm wrong.
Maybe there's more than one.
Maybe
Augusta.
there is more than one.
Yeah.
I just guessed. Maryland.
Baltimore.
No. Annapolis.
Ah!
Massachusetts. Home to Pete Blackburn.
Boston is the easy answer, so we know it's not Boston. Screw it. I say Boston.
Boston!
Hey!
You got 10 so far.
Out of how many?
We're at the M's, so I don't know how many we got
Am I at
left.
500?
I don't think so.
Do I have a winning record?
Michigan.
I mean, Detroit's the easy one, but Grand Rapids.
Lansing. Minnesota.
Minneapolis? No!
St. Paul.
Shoot!
You already guessed.
Damn! No!
I'll give you a half point.
No, I don't deserve it.
You don't deserve it. Mississippi.
Oh my God, I don't. I have
You'll never get this.
Riverton.
It's Jackson.
Jackson, Mississippi. No, I should have. Okay.
Missouri.
Okay.
Do you think you know this one? Home to the now deceased St. Louis Rams.
That's the team you picked?
Yes. Hey, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Marshall Faulk. Those are my guys.
Okay. This is dumb, but isn't Kansas City in Missouri?
It is. The Kansas City Royals do play in Missouri.
Right. That's the thing. I'm going to say it's Kansas City.
It is Jefferson City.
Oh, man.
Montana.
Man.
You're still stuck on 10, by the way.
Oh, gee. Oh, I like this, though. This is fun.
This is a good game.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
It's probably, I don't know how much Canadians like it, but I bet Americans find this infuriating / adorable.
Oh, yeah. The Americans that know it and are like, Steve, you idiot.
Well, and like they know.
Oh, yeah.
They know their American geography.
If you are listening to this and you get 50 out of 50, please tweet us. I'd like to know. All right, Montana. Also, Canadians playing along. It's probably fun, too.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know anything about America. Montana.
I'm trying to think of... No, Lansing's in Michigan, you said.
Mm-hmm. We already had
I'm going to go with Hannah.
Oh, that's kind of along the right lines, but not right. Helena.
Oh, I would have never got that.
How did you guess Hannah? It's just Montana.
Hannah, Montana.
Nebraska.
Nebraska town. I can't name a city.
Lincoln.
Nebraska. Right.
Nevada. This one's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's not Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's not Las Vegas.
Reno?
Carson City.
Jeez. I'm on a streak.
I told you it was coming. This whole middle section.
One.
Yeah.
Regression. I was like, I want to say it was like 6-2 at one point.
You were doing like surprisingly well at the beginning. All right, New Hampshire.
Oh, I literally just looked at a map of it and I don't know. New Hampshire. Old Hampshire.
Concord,
New Hampshire. Sure, I believe you.
New Jersey. I can't name.
Oh, Newark.
No.
Is that an airport?
I don't. Isn't that Newark is in New Jersey? Yeah, but it's.
I don't know, man. I'm starting to feel stupid.
It's Trenton.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I know a bunch of Americans, and I don't know any from any of these places. Like, oh my God.
Well, typically, I find like when I know where an American is from, I know them from the state, right? Or it's like a major city. It's like one of the big hubs, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's weird. I feel like in Canada, you sort of identify yourself by the region. And if you're from the GTA, you identify yourself as the very specific part of it that you're from.
Right. Like if you're from Northern Ontario, you tell people the exact town you're from. You're like, I'm from Newcastle. I'm from Barrie. You know, you name your city.
And then there's some places in Europe where you probably just say the country.
Yeah.
Because it's teeny tiny. And I don't know.
All right, let's keep going here.
Okay.
New Mexico.
Albuquerque.
Santa Fe.
Jeez.
What's the capital of New York?
New York City.
No.
Is it not?
It's Albany.
What? The home of the River
Steve.
Rats, or the former home of the Albany River Rats.
I don't remember when you got one right. It's been so long.
Did you know that it was Albany?
No, I did not.
Come on.
But I'm also looking at a list, so my life's a lot easier.
Now this is America taking the piss, though. They're like, okay, what's the fifth most noticeable city in our state? That's our capital.
Capital of North Carolina.
Raleigh.
It is Raleigh. Way to go. You're up
I love you, James Reimer.
You're up to 11. You got 11 right. All right, North Dakota. You're not getting this.
Dakota City.
Bismarck.
Shut up. That's a made-up place.
It's Bismarck, North Dakota. Not Bismarcky, but Bismarck.
No. Do you say he's just a friend?
You say you're just a friend.
Oh, baby, you
got what I need. You
say he's just a friend. Anyway.
Ohio.
I prefer the Mario version, but Columbus.
Well done. That's 12.
There you go.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma City?
See, that's a little unfair. It is Oklahoma City.
No, it's not. Kansas City isn't even in Kansas. What do you mean that's unfair?
You didn't even know. You just guessed Oklahoma City?
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't say Thundertown. I said... Jeez.
That's 13. All right. You're up to 13. Now we're on to Oregon.
Portland.
Salem.
Again, it's like they make an effort to not pick the state with the sports team.
There's got to be a philosophy behind that, not picking the big city, right? You want a smaller town to be your state capital, so you can do.
Ontario's sort of the same.
Yeah,
or Canada, I should say.
Ottawa's our capital. What the hell's that?
See, what's the capital of Ontario, though?
Toronto.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay. Anyway, keep going.
Where were we? We were on Oregon. Now we're on to Pennsylvania.
Oh God. Okay.
You got a couple to choose from.
We know about Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, so they're off the list.
You are correct.
Okay, so now let me think. Hershey.
No, it's Harrisburg.
Okay. I know so many NHL, AHL, ECHL teams, and like a bunch of colleges from Pennsylvania. Harrisburg.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing this is America. Is this a meme? Is this the Saskatchewan Roughriders jersey, but for Americans?
What, having state capitals in weird cities?
Yes.
I guess so.
Oh,
all right.
We're on to you.
Rhode Island. Rhode Island.
Oh, I did know this at some point. Rumor Town.
Providence.
Home of the Providence Bruins. Idiot.
You're never going to get this one. South Carolina.
Come on and raise up. Take your shirt off. Twist it around your hand. Spin it like a helicopter. No, that's North Carolina.
Yes, South Carolina.
Okay, so now what are all the places from...
You can't name one city in South Carolina.
Moncks Corner.
Damn it. What's the capital, though?
Is it Charleston? Or is that North Carolina?
What'd you guess?
Charleston.
It's Columbia.
Columbia! Oh.
You didn't know that.
No, I didn't. I know of Columbia. I didn't know it was Columbia, though.
South Dakota.
South Dakota town.
Pierre.
Shut up. Someone please message us from Pierre, South Dakota.
It's like a beginning of a Playboy Cardi song where the Pierre, whatever that producer's name is, you know? He does DJ drop. Anyways.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Well, there's Nashville, which impossible. So, oh God, what's the? Now I'm trying to think back to when we were there, and Kevin was giving us the big tour, and so was Will. Knoxville.
It's Nashville.
I'm so pissed. I'm so pissed.
Ooh, that's good. All right.
Man.
Texas.
You know what? I think that one's actually. Oh no. Arlington.
Austin.
Ow! Damn.
Yeah. There's a couple.
Beginning of the letter. I got the first letter. Shut up.
No. Utah.
Jazzville. Salt Lake City.
It is Salt Lake City.
Okay.
Well done. That's 14. Not a great.
Dude, I thought I'd be better than this. Wow.
Me too. Actually, you're kind of on point where I thought you'd be. Vermont.
Oh God. That's a great, like, where are you from? I'm from Vermont.
Yeah, you don't really name the place in Vermont that you're from.
You don't say I'm from Vermont town or what? What is it?
Montpelier. Montpelier?
You can't even.
I've never heard of this place.
What is the population of made up place?
7,436 in 2018.
The capital of Vermont is about 7,500 people, you said?
Yeah.
They're taking the piss. This is America's Rough Riders jersey. Oh my God. All
right, Virginia.
George Washington Town. No, Cherry Treeville.
Richmond.
Well, what I hadn't guessed yet.
You guessed Cherry Tree Town.
I know of Richmond. I wouldn't have got it though.
You guessed Cherry Tree Town, Steve.
Fine.
Washington. Not DC, just the state.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no.
What you got?
I don't know.
No guess?
Cherry. Oh, this one's Cherry Tree Town.
No, it's Olympia.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have got that.
Population of around 50,000 people.
Okay. How many state capitals have a larger population than Pickering, Ontario?
What's the population of Pickering?
It's like 100,000.
I can count every place with over 100,000 people.
Or under, whichever's easier for you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,
this is insane.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 state capitals have a population of under 100,000.
So they're all smaller than Oshawa.
Essentially.
That's wild. Now I don't feel bad. I was starting to feel pretty stupid.
You should feel a little bad. I
do feel a little bad.
You couldn't even hit like 50%.
Do you think you would have done better?
Oh, God, no.
Oh, okay.
I'm an idiot.
It's good to be stupid together.
You're right. You have 3 left.
Okay.
Let's fire through them.
Finish strong.
West Virginia. Let's get one of these.
That's another American thing. How many states are divided? Like, you are, like, don't give me this 50 state stuff. You're juicing your numbers and you know it. North and South Carolina.
West Virginia.
And so wait, do they even have an East Virginia, or is it just Virginia and West Virginia?
There's Virginia and there's West Virginia. There's no north or south. That's
juicing your numbers. That's shenanigans.
Take me home, country roads, to a place I don't know. West Virginia.
Sorry, I thought the answer was in the
Mountain
song.
Mama, take me home.
Mountain Mama
Country
Town.
roads. It's Charleston. You guessed it before.
Oh, no.
Wisconsin.
Madison.
Hey, you got one. All right, that's 15.
Shout out that 70 show.
Lastly is Wyoming.
Oh. Rocktown.
It's Cheyenne.
Cheyenne?
Cheyenne. Cheyenne.
I don't know.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Steve,
that was bad, and I should feel bad.
You got 15 out of 50. That's disgusting. Oh, that's not a good show.
Very good. No. But I didn't guess the Vatican or anything like that, or that could have gone worse. All right. That's like me taking a math test in grade 10. I'm like, I didn't get 0.
It was. I don't know if that could have been worse. I'd like to know if anybody played along at home and guessed the states. Let us know what you got. If you beat Steve's 15 out of 50.
Yeah, you got to do it honest.
Let's check the percentage on that. 15 divided by 50.
The problem with the Animaniacs song is I only remember the first little verse. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Columbus is the capital of Ohio. And there's 3 states, and that's it.
You got 30% on your quiz.
Oh, it could be worse. That could be worse. That's okay. Here's why that reminded me of math. For most other things, I would count my grade down. I know the material, but I lost marks here and here and here, so my grade gets counted down.
Yeah.
With math, I'd be like, let's build from 0. You're getting 0. Okay, you got this one. You're at 2% now. Let's get this one. All right, you're at 4. Can we get enough to get 50? And the answer was often no.
Right.
Or at least I think it was. That's the worst. The worst part about being bad at math is it's hard to calculate how bad your mark is. It's hard to figure out what your mark is going into exams. I dropped that like a bad habit as soon as I could.
There's one hockey note I want to get in.
Okay.
The Arizona Coyotes fired their president and CEO today. Aaron Cohen was relieved of his duties. Cohen had been with the Coyotes since being hired in 2015 as COO and chief legal officer by previous owner Andrew Barraway. Cohen was named president and CEO in 2007 after Steve Patterson stepped back to serve as a consultant and advisor after a year on the job. So I find weird timing in the middle of a pandemic, but it's the second president we've seen fired since we've entered a pandemic and the season's been stopped, which is, I don't understand. I guess it's a good time because everything's on pause. So if you want to bring in a new name to get to know the business, you have time to do that. But I thought it was interesting that now we've seen 2 presidents be let go.
Yeah, what can the president of a hockey team do to get fired when there are no games?
That's what I'm wondering.
Unless, I don't know, because there's just, I guess there's fewer things to look after, and yet there's more. But I don't know. Maybe you're not aligned on how it comes back. I mean, you associate being fired with, doing a bad job or doing bad things, which I feel like in hockey, it's so often guys, especially in these front office roles, just get fired after long enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We've grown tired of you.
Yes. A president's an especially interesting one because you don't even have to lose. Mm-hmm. You could just win a bunch and they're kind of sick of you.
Yeah, we've seen your face around too much.
One bad season. Was this guy pushing for the Taylor Hall deal? Was this guy, did he hurt Darcy Kemper personally? Mm-hmm. Thus sort of railroading the Coyote season. It's a weird one. It's an interesting one. I mean, of all the teams to cut money, I don't know. Is the Coyotes have no money thing played out?
I think it's still true.
It's still, I think they have a hard time making money. But there's a difference between having a hard time making money and not having any, right? Ownership groups sort of changed that. The Pagulas sort of did that with Buffalo, and then Winnipeg doesn't make very much money. They have one of the smaller arenas in the entire league, but their ownership group has money, right? Mm-hmm. They have a ton of money. So That is a very odd one. When did that come down? I hadn't even heard that until you said it.
A couple hours ago, like this morning, like 11 a.m. ish.
Oh, okay. I've been out all day, so out all day, not hugging and kissing people. Relax.
Since 2017, the Coyotes have finished 12th, 15th, and 9th under Cohen as president. That's in the Western Conference.
I was about to say.
Yeah, and have not qualified for the playoffs. So the on-ice performance hasn't been there, certainly.
So that's really interesting because now does that mean something for John Chayka? Right? The guy above him got canned, or, maybe he'll get fired up. Who knows? I doubt that because is John Chayka even 30 yet? I know he's younger than I am. He might be somewhere between your age and mine, Jesse, but
he's 30. Turns 31 on June 9th.
There. So he's even younger than Kyle Dubas.
Yeah.
That is a really interesting one because I like a lot of what the Coyotes have done in recent years, but they haven't won.
Yeah.
And they get Antti Ranta and he gets hurt again. And they get Darcy Kemper and he's fantastic. And all of a sudden they have this really good tandem and then he gets hurt. And then I feel like, it's a league that doesn't care about your luck or lack of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the Coyotes have had some pretty tough luck, like Jacob Chychrun basically losing a whole season. Like it's been tough for the Coyotes. Kind of feel bad for the fans. I don't know the president of their team who just got fired, so I don't know him personally.
Aaron Cohen.
I'm not sure I'm not sure what he could have done differently.
Right. You look at that and you wonder what else is going on. With an organization as big as the Blackhawks, you're like, okay, we kind of know some of the stories, like they've won, they're probably sick of each other. But with the Coyotes, we don't know much about their inner workings, so we kind of have no answers on that. But it sounds like somebody grew tired, or they're taking advantage of the timing. I don't know.
Also, ownership's changed a bunch of times. I wonder if he was from a previous ownership group, and they're like, all right, that's enough of you.
He was hired by the previous owner group. Yeah, because he was with the team since 2015. Yeah,
that'll do it.
Yeah,
that'll do it.
Yeah. Okay. Another thing I need to get to because I need this in my life. I need to be right. And continually, every day I wake up, the world proves to me that I am indeed right about everything.
I don't know about that.
Steve, you purchased a jersey on May 13th, yesterday. A York 9 FC jersey.
Yes.
You purchased this jersey. York 9 FC is a local football/soccer team here.
Footy
team.
The Canadian Premier League.
That's the CPL, yes.
The CPL. We have our own Premier League because we needed to have one in order to host the World Cup.
Yeah, so they had to invent one.
Right, but now I think it's got 8 teams across the country.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I know very little about the CPL. I apologize.
Yeah, including Halifax. Halifax getting a pro team in there. Halifax is going to be a name that comes up a lot more in pro conversations.
There should be a CFL team out east. I think it's absurd that hasn't happened yet.
I think it's in the plans. It's one of the fastest growing places in Canada, and it friggin' rules. Mm-hmm. Halifax is the best. I love it. Can't say enough good things about it. So
you purchased a York 9 FC jersey because they were selling them, and all proceeds from the jersey sales go to Mackenzie Health. Sorry.
Yes.
So you purchased one, and you got it. You threw up a picture on Twitter. You threw Dangle on the back, which you always do, and you posted it with the number 10, which is your hockey number. And it was funny because
you think it's funny how?
Somebody quote tweeted your picture in your York 9 FC jersey. And the person who quote tweeted, do you know who this gentleman is? His name is Manuel. He said,
I know a few Manuels. Do you have the last name there, Jesse?
I'm gonna just read his tweet first. He says, "All you need is the armband, and you're ready to go. I did think that number came with another name, though." So, who is this gentleman, Stephen?
He plays for the York Nine of the CPL, and his number is 10. And I now have a jersey with the number 10 on it.
And your own name.
I feel like an idiot. And this isn't even the only time this has happened. So I had the number 10 on a Leafs jersey before Brad May did. And Brad May was the last Leaf to wear number 10.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a number 10 Blue Jays jersey made for me when the team had Edwin Encarnacion.
And you put Dangle on the back.
So I just looked like a complete chode. And now I'm like, oh no.
Are you coming
again?
Are you coming around on my theory that, hey, maybe you shouldn't put your own last name on a jersey?
Wrong.
But the player who wears the number of the jersey you were wearing called you out for not having his last name on it. Which
So
I can't really pronounce. It's Arpaccio? Arpaccio?
Here, let me see, just so I have it in front of me.
Manuel.
Here, can you send it to me?
Yeah, the tweet?
Send it to me real quick so I can try not to butcher his name.
Yeah, because I am butchering it. Because like I said before, I am stupid and can't read.
No, you just think they're all Baba Bucci.
Because I'm stupid. And I can't read them right. So, yes, I do. I sent it to you right now. You should have it if you pull it up. He also...
Aparicio.
Aparicio.
I think. Manuel Aparicio.
So, on the back of your Dangle 10 jersey for the York 9 FC, it should say Aparicio, but instead it says Dangle. And the player who wears 10 is wondering why the hell you would put your own name on top of his, because that's his number, because he actually plays for the team.
I selfishly didn't think about the jersey number thing. Oh, man, when I worked for the Steelheads, I think I got... Oh, wait, so I have number 12 on my Mississauga Steelheads jersey. I don't know... I know a player had 10, and I didn't want to wear their number. I can't remember if there was a player who had 12, or if I had simply been given 12 because it was the 2011-12 season.
Oh, okay.
But I will say this. Dangle 10 is on, like, everything of mine. But I just watched The Last Dance. Yep. And sometimes even the greatest change their number.
Are you going to change it?
I've been thinking about it. But the problem is so many numbers are retired. Mm-hmm. And a lot of current Leafs have numbers, and I just don't want to steal anyone's number. You know what I mean? Brad May stole
Steve,
mine.
No.
Brad May stole mine.
Oh,
but now,
would it be wrong to wear the jersey of a player who actually plays for the team? Are you saying that it'd be weird to do that?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. All I'm saying is JVR changed his jersey number for Boreas Salming, and he changed it to 25 because it was retired. George Armstrong and his number 10 have been retired by the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I wonder at some point in the future if I should retire 10 and move on to a different number.
Can I throw out a suggestion?
Yes.
How about you retire 10 and then you don't have a number because you don't play for the team?
What if I instead of numbers, I have 6 additional nameplates?
Yeah, just have Dangle all the way.
Dangle. What if I did that instead? What if I just got a Blake 92-5 jersey and just wore it everywhere I went? That's what I'm going to do. Oh, wait, no, sorry, Blake 999. 99 is retired league-wide. Yes. 999 is not.
You could do that. Why don't you write Dangle Sportsnet?
590.
Is it 501 on your Rogers cable box? Or 505, I believe. Do you remember?
That sounds right. I always just see. You see, Jesse.
Do you talk into your remote?
I have Rogers Ignite, so I simply speak into my remote and I go Leafs game, and boom, Leafs game because Rogers.
That's not how that works.
Yeah.
Your remote says, "I'm a remote. Stop talking to me."
No, it does not. If it did, okay, it does not have SAS mode. All right. It does not have talk back.
It says, press the buttons yourself, you lazy bitch.
Wow.
That's what it says.
I don't think that's a feature. I don't think that's a feature.
That's what it says.
Disagree.
Anyways, I think you retire your number. You don't ever get a number again. Just say.
Never get a number again. What numbers have never been worn by a Leaf? Let me look this up. Numbers Leafs have worn. Toronto Maple Leaf sweater numbers. This is on Hockey Reference. So, retired numbers, by the way. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 8's there. 10, 13, 14, 17, 21, 27, 93. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
98 has never been worn. 97 has never been worn, although in a few years it might be. 95 has never been worn.
90.
87, 86, and 85 have never been worn. 82 has never been worn. 79, 78. I got some options, folks.
Yeah,
76.
58. Yeah.
There's some options. 68's a little on the nose, isn't it? There are options. So maybe I could change my number. It's amazing how many numbers had never been taken until recently.
Mm-hmm.
Tavares is the first to ever wear 91. Nick Patan was the first Leaf to ever wear 61. Dennis Malgin, who I completely forgot was a Leaf, is the first Leaf to ever wear 62.
The only thing, though, 1 through 57 are taken.
Oh, my God.
So
it's got to be a high number.
Yeah.
Andrew McWilliam wore 57. He was one of my first ever junior interviews. Interesting. Well, now I just need those. Oh, and Carlton the Bear wears number 60.
You can't do that.
Can't do that. That's an interesting one. If any player has ever come to Toronto going, I want to wear 60, they go, well, it's taken by Carlton the Bear. Would Carlton have to change their number? If it was a good player, he probably would.
100%.
If Dennis Mulligan goes, I wear 60, I'm pretty sure Carlton the Bear keeps 60. I don't know. But I have definitely considered changing my jersey number.
One last thing.
Yes.
I want to touch on before we go. We should wish a happy anniversary to Game 7, 2013, Boston Bruins, Toronto Maple Leafs.
No, we
4-1
shouldn't.
collapse. The anniversary was yesterday. It was the 7-year anniversary of the Leafs 4-1 collapse versus the Boston Bruins in Game 7 of the 2013 playoffs. Nazem Kadri scored with 14:31 left in the third period to put the Leafs up 4-1 in the game on their way to hopefully the second round of the playoffs. They were in the playoffs for the first time since
2004.
2004, which is
first time
crazy.
in 9 years.
They were in the playoffs, and they went down 3-1 in the series. They came all the way back with back-to-back 2-1 victories in Game 5 and 6. Pushed to Game 7. They go up 4-1 in Game 7. 14 minutes left. Nazem Kadri puts it up 4-1. And then we all know what happens next.
No, we don't.
Nathan Horton scores. Milan Lucic scores.
Leaf legend.
Patrice Bergeron scores with 51 seconds left in the third period to tie it up.
The Leafs were so finished. Like, what's amazing watching the footage back is how close the Bruins came to just finishing them in regulation.
Yeah, it was tilted. Like, I don't know what happened those last 10 minutes, but
they shut it off.
It wasn't a game anymore.
No.
Now, Steve. And then, obviously, we got to finish off. Patrice Bergeron scored in overtime to win it, beating James Reimer with an assist from Sagan and Marchand, winning 4-1 at 6:05 in OT.
Where is he? There he is. There's Patrice right there.
So,
me and Patrice.
Let's reminisce a little. Where were you? Do you remember the moments leading up that playoff series? Tell us about your time in 2013, Stephen Dangle.
I do. I remember it. I was working at CBC doing highlights, and I just straight up refused to work that night. I'm like, nope, I get that night off. I am going to watch this game at Maple Leaf Square. And I went down with my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife. And
Mrs. Dangle.
Mrs. Dangle. And I had my dirty neck beard. My channel was sort of taken off. That was a fun time because my channel had taken a dip, and then there was the lockout, and then I came back full of piss and vinegar, and everyone's like, yeah, we want to watch stuff, and it was cool. Watched the game with a bunch of people, had a great rowdy time. And I remember the Leafs go up 4-1. There were so many little parts of that game, too. In the 2018 Game 7, Patrick Marleau had 2 goals. And imagine how different we'd be talking about Patrick Marleau if the Leafs win that game. In 2013, Cody Franzen had 2 goals.
Yep.
He basically put one in his own net. Matt Bartkowski got the goal. Bruins are up 1-0. And then Franzen got the next 2. And the Leafs went into the third period with a 2-1 lead because of Cody Franzen's pair of goals. An article went up this week, Cody Franzen and his regret over not signing a certain contract with the Leafs. Fans in this city would have screamed bloody murder if Franzen didn't get his money. Because he would have been a hero. He would have been a hero. Not on the level of you scored a Stanley Cup winning goal, but he was the Leafs' best player, or one of the best players in a game, Game 7 comeback. How many times have the Leafs come back from a 3-1 series deficit in franchise history? Not many. There was the one where they came back from 3-0, So it's amazing how much changes. I was in Maple Leaf Square. They had the big crane camera come down and see all the people. And if you go back and watch a record of the game, you see all these fans jumping up and going crazy, and just to screw with them and they did a bunch of different takes of it. And I think part of the reason they did is because I kept screwing it up, because while fans are jumping up and down and having a great time, I just did this. I stood completely still, just staring right at the camera. And I'm like right in the middle of the shot too. And so I even had a bunch of tweets. My phone died before the Leafs blew it, which thank God.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God. That's why my timeline's a little quiet that night. Thank God. But yeah, I got a bunch of tweets before it died of people going, "Is that you staring into the camera in Maple Leaf Square?" And I remember clear as day, Leafs go up 4-1. We lose our minds.
We thought it was over.
We thought it was over. And so did the people behind me, because they start, nah, 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 nah. And I remember just panic turning around, screaming, not even caring who it was, going, shut the f*** up! Because you knew, it's Leafs Nation. We just knew too many things could go wrong. There's way too much time left in this game. And if you go back and watch, there's this horrifying shot of the Bruins bench, and they look so dejected. And it gets to Jaromir Jagr, and he just pouts and shakes his head.
You forget Jagr was on that team.
He was on that team, and who else was on that team? Wade Redden. Wade Redden was a Bruin back then. But Jagr just goes, nope. And he's just like, we got these guys. And there's a guy who's been around for so long, he's seen so much, even back then, and he was just like, no, we shouldn't be losing these guys. These guys suck. And if you watch the whole game, they did. They were awful. You watch the game and wonder how they made the playoffs.
Yep.
And Bruins score again. And moments earlier, I was thinking, you know what? Penguins probably make it to the Eastern Conference Final. Leafs are going to have to play the Bruins in round 2. Leafs, I think, had a winning record against the Bruins that year. The Leafs, to this day, are Henrik Lundqvist's boogeyman. It makes no sense. He gets shelled every time he plays them. And I'm like, you know what? They can make it to the Eastern Conference Final. And even though the Leafs didn't beat the Penguins, I don't think, that season, they played them really well. And I was like, you know what? They have a real shot at going to the Stanley Cup Final.
Did you mean the Rangers in round 2? You said
sorry. I thought they would have beaten the Rangers in round 2.
Okay,
and I thought
you said the Bruins, so just correct.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Yeah. I thought the Leafs would have had a chance of beating the Rangers in round 2.
Okay.
And I thought they had at least a fighting chance against the Penguins.
All right.
In round 3. And then I remember watching that series where the Penguins got swept by the Bruins. I want to say the Penguins scored 4 goals in 4 games. And I remember just watching the Bruins tear meat off of the bone, rip the Penguins limb from limb, and just going, the Leafs push these guys to 7? Anyway, so I'm going back and forth. When Bergeron tied the game, I hit the deck. I like a lot of Leaf fans.
Like at Maple Leaf Square?
Yeah, so you might even be able to see me in the shot because so many people put their hands up. I immediately fell to my knees because I'm like, in that moment they lost. And the mood in Maple Leaf Square was, that's it. That's it. And, you know, the game wasn't over. They could have easily came back and win it. Joffrey Lupul actually had a pretty good chance to win it in overtime. But we just knew. And then when it happened, I literally just turned from the TV, turned around, looked down at my wife, and she just like, it was her first Leafs heartbreak. Like she had never really cared, and then she finally cared. And that was her first introduction to Leafs heartbreak. And we just, we didn't stick around for the news cameras like some of those people who were like, we were so close! We just walked and had the quietest subway ride I've ever taken.
Wow.
And I hate that video that I did the next morning because I shouldn't have done it the next morning, but I lived with my parents still at the time. And I just don't feel like I did it justice. And you see the difference with what is now my second most viewed video, which is Game 7 from this year, where it's an added 6 years of torture. The Leafs are like the Chicago Blackhawks of losing Game 7 to the Bruins. 3 in 6 years, baby. Woo! and I just completely lost my mind.
Yeah.
But in 2013, it was just genuine heartbreak. And just knowing, oh my God, we're never going to live this down. And now it's 7 years later.
I feel like there was some consolation for the fact that they shouldn't have been there. No. The only reason the Leafs were even in the playoffs was because they got a heater to start the shortened season. Even at the end of the season, I had the end of it. They lost they lost 4 of their last 6 games. Like this wasn't a very good team. But they snuck into the 5th seed because it was technically the middle of the season. It was 48 games in, and they cut it off, and they had to start the playoffs because of the shortened season. So if that's an 82-game regular season, this team, that's like an 8 seed, maybe a 10 seed. They missed the playoffs. Who knows? But they were playing above their heads, and it was unbelievable that they even squeaked out those 2 wins in 5 and 6 just to push it to Game 7. And
Reimer was so good.
Yeah, because Reimer stole those games. And
Reimer stole that season. Yeah. He stole that playoff spot.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
And no, you'd think that it eased a little bit of the pain, but once you go up 4-1 with 10 minutes is left, and you still have a 4-1 lead, and then you blow it, that doesn't help. Doesn't help the fact that you should have never been there. You close that out because that's what you should do.
Well, in the Bruins, Jack Edwards, with the dagger at their throats, they pull it out and slay the beast. And I'm like, the beast?
Right.
The 2013 Leafs. That's embarrassing. But, I mean, the way they lost was even more embarrassing. That was the thing. There was nothing to say. And at the time, I did take consolation in, wow, they did push them to 7. Mm-hmm. I guess in that, they proved that they're better than I thought they were. And then management said, yeah, you're right. And they doubled down on everything, and they plunged the team into maybe the second darkest period of their history, and had to completely burn it to ash and rebuild. And now here we are today.
They doubled down on a bad team that was playing above their heads.
Yeah.
And it led to, 4 years of just terrible hockey.
They bought out Mikhail Grabovski immediately, which made no sense. Komarov left because he didn't play for the final 17 minutes of the game. Clark MacArthur walked. Nikolai Kulemin walked. They got David Clarkson in free agency. And rather than go with what was a pretty solid tandem in Reimer and Scrivens, they paid a decent chunk for Jonathan Bernier. Mm-hmm. Who was actually really good in 2013-14 and then just never quite recaptured that magic as the team got shittier around him.
Yeah.
Where were you?
I was at Ryerson at the time, and that night I was at school. So I missed I missed the entire second commuting home from Ryerson. So
when did your class end?
So the game must have started at what, 7 or 8?
7.
7. So the class must have ended at like 6. And because I went to, I didn't see you, but I walked by Maple Leaf Square because I walked down to the GO train. So I walked in. I think I watched the entire first period from Maple Leaf Square. With my backpack on and everything, getting ready to go catch the next GO train. So I watched.
You must have been way at the back.
Yeah, because I walked down after class, and then I'm standing by myself. I'm just standing at the back with my backpack on, watching the first period, and then I go from. So the first period ends, and I book it to the GO train, and I take the GO train home, and I get home. It's probably like end of the second, middle second, somewhere in there, and then I watched the entire second and third and OT from my bedroom. And I remember texting a couple buddies when they went up 4-1, hey, we're going the second round, this is it, I can't believe this is happening. And I jinxed it, you know. Like, I believed that this team that we couldn't fathom doing anything, this JVR Kessel Kadri line that's just unbelievable for some reason. I thought they were going to do it. I believed in these guys. They were heroes, and they collapsed. I encourage anybody who's listening to this to go back to watch the highlights on YouTube. There's a video that was posted May 14th, 2013 that has 1.2 million views. And if you go and you watch the part with the Kadri goal, it's like a half an hour video. They have the whole highlights. It's great. And if you go and you watch the part with the Kadri goal, I believe it's Jack Edwards who says at the time, that's it. That's the dagger. The Leafs have all but cleaned up this series. It'll take a monumental collapse for Boston to come back.
And it's the first and only 3-goal third period collapse in in a Game 7 in NHL history.
And then it happens. You know, he says it'll take a monumental collapse, and that's exactly what happens. It was fascinating to rewatch.
And this is why I keep saying I want the Leafs to beat the Bruins en route to, if they ever do anything. Washington got that moment by beating the Penguins, and that's the one we always bring up, is because the Penguins beat the Caps over and over and over again. A better example would be the Flyers and the Bruins. The Bruins were up 3-0 on the Flyers in 2010. That's that great goal by Mark Savard, banging a stick on the ice, throws it in the stands, smashes up against the glass coming back from injury and everything. Flyers win the next 3 games. Bruins go up 3-0 and choke. They blew a 3-goal lead in Game 7. I just don't think it was all in the third. And the Flyers end up winning. The very next year, they play the 2011 Bruins. And what a lot of people remember about that team is how they were tough. What a lot of people remember about that team is I think they were the first team to ever play 3 7-game series en route to winning the Stanley Cup. They went 7 against Montreal, 7 against Tampa, 7 against the Canucks. But what a lot of people forget, second round, they murdered the Flyers. Murdered them.
They had to get back at them, you know? They had revenge.
They ripped the neck off their shoulders. They made sure history forgot about that collapse. And I've had a bunch of Leaf fans go, hey, never forget the Boston in 2010. I'm like, you know what? Boston's forgotten that in 2010.
Yeah.
Because they have – I'd be so much more haunted by, like, the 2013 final – or, like, 2 goals in 17 seconds to Chicago, right? Mm-hmm. Or, Marchand leaving for the bench early against St. Louis. But that 2010 collapse against the Flyers – that's long gone. They exercised those demons in the best way possible. They swept them in the playoffs en route to winning the Cup the next year.
Yeah, that's over, you know?
Leafs, all we have is demons. All we have is demons.
Right. It's funny how we look at the 2016 or 17 Washington series loss, and we compare it to this one, where it's like that was a team who was playing so far above their heads, and so was this one, but that team didn't get to a Game 7, you know? That team was the 2017 team was so young, but they never pushed it, you know? So it wasn't bad. Everybody looked at it as a positive.
6 1-goal games.
Yeah.
6 1-goal games, 5 in overtime.
Oh.
That series ruled. Oh, it ruled so hard. I wanted a different result.
It didn't hurt, though.
No, I was there. And I remember even being like, how am I going to be in public if the Leafs lose this series to Washington? And they lost it on an overtime winner on kind of a shitty goal. And the whole crowd, maybe 5-10 seconds of silence, less than 10. And we all just started cheering. Everyone just started cheering.
Guys. Yeah.
Proud of them. Proud of the scrappy young group that, like, so many thrilling games. Game 3, they're down 3-1. Washington's killing them. Nylander scores the tying goal off a great Zach Hyman effort. Bozak with the tip in overtime. Leafs were up 2-1 in that series. Leafs were up 2-0 in game 1, which they lost. They were up. The Leafs scored. The Washington Capitals lost the Stanley Cup in 2017 when they allowed the Leafs to score about 2 minutes in.
What do you mean?
But I know it was the Penguins who eliminated them. Mm-hmm. But this was the can't miss group. This was the most can't miss group of players the Washington Capitals had ever put together. They're going to win the Cup this year. Don't worry about it. They won the President's Trophy. They were head and shoulders above everyone else. Then they acquired Kevin Shattenkirk, and they were unbeatable. And then the Leafs score on them 2 minutes in, and you just see the team and the building in Washington. It was, oh my God, here we go again. Here we friggin' go again. And you could tell, and that stuck with them the whole series. Who knows? If Washington scores first, it goes to the legs. Maybe they kill the Leafs in 4.
Right. And they're a lot fresher next round. Who knows?
And they're a lot fresher next round. Maybe they beat the Penguins. There's no back-to-back. Who knows? We'll never know. And then the next year, all the pressure's off. Look, they win a cup.
Yeah.
Hockey's dumb.
I think it's like that in any sport. You just need the perfect bounces, Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird how certain things stick with you. Like, I'm amazed how often I've seen the meme, like to this day, about the Warriors losing a 3-1 lead to the Cavs. Like, didn't they sweep them the next year?
Yeah, the Warriors the following year were the greatest, I think, the greatest basketball team of all time. And that Kevin Durant Warriors team. I know the year before is when they set the record for the most wins in the regular season, the 73 wins the year they lost to the Cavs.
And then lost.
And then they add one of the greatest players of all time the next year, and they probably have one of the best teams in the history of basketball. And it's just, but their legacy is tainted by this 3-1 lead blown, even though they have 3 championships in 4 years.
3. It's wild. I can't wait for that doc. Mm-hmm. Draymond Green just talking shit for like 8 episodes. It'll be great.
So they had asked for the access that you see the access that for the Last Dance that the Bulls gave to the TV crews for this documentary that we're watching. So they had asked, I don't know if it was ESPN or what TV crew, but they had asked the Warriors to film something similar for that during that season. That would be the 2017 season, the 73 win season. And they denied it. So all of that footage doesn't exist. So there was an opportunity to create that doc, the Last Dance type doc for the Warriors, but they didn't allow the cameras. They're worried about the relationships between Durant and Draymond and all that getting exposed via these cameras that would follow them around the whole year.
So that couldn't have been Steph. It couldn't have been Steph.
No.
Like, I still one of the things I love so much about NBA Finals Media Day that I'm still blessed that I got to go to, Raps Warriors. It's in Toronto. Steph Curry comes up for warm-up. And you see everyone perk up because he wasn't there right away. Steph Curry comes out. Oh, okay, shit. Get your camera. It's Steph Curry. First thing he does is he grabs a basketball, walks to center court, shoots a half-court shot, literally does not even whisper at the rim. Just nothing but net. Turns around, grabs another basketball, half-court shot the other way. Nothing but net. I was just like, holy shit.
He knows what you guys are there for.
He knows. And he 2 half-court shot. Think of how – could I hit a half-court shot? Yes. How many attempts would it take me? A million. I'd be there all day. every kid who's ever played in a gym has tried to hit a half-court shot. I've done it.
Oh, yeah.
I did it at summer camp. It took me like 100 tries, though, is the only thing. This guy just whack.
Mm-hmm.
Like two things you would never pull off in a game situation, except he would because he's Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
And in front of all these cameras and just he got it. I can't imagine him making the decision, no, don't get this on camera. He's Steph Curry. He's like, bask in my greatness. Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm disappointed we won't ever get to see what really went on in the 17-18 Warriors. And then, but it only reinforced the point, like when, because Durant left because there's a whole bunch, he wasn't happy,
reasons.
Yeah. Draymond was a large reason of that. And you don't want that stuff getting out. They're professional athletes. They like to keep that stuff in house. So I see why.
Boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
No fun. Anyways, that's the show. If you're wondering where Adam is, he's off doing dad stuff. Hopefully he can join us on Sunday. Well-deserved day off for him.
Yeah. He deserves it.
Yeah. But, we'll be back on Sunday with a brand new episode. Hopefully we can do more geography trivia.
Oh, boy.
Because Steve did such a great job this time.
That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends that the capital of Washington is Cherry Tree Town.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness. Connection complete.